My next guest, she is a professional mixed martial artist with a perfect professional record of 10 wins with no losses. She's the current women's champion in PFL's lightweight division. She holds plenty of accomplishments, as such as being a 2010 Judo World Champion. She is a two-time Olympic gold medalist in the 2012 and 2016 Olympics. Please welcome onto the show, Kayla Harrison. How you doing, Kayla?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Now, thank you for coming on, Kayla. It's a pleasure. How have you been?
Yeah, no, here's mine. Yeah, I'm good. Everything's good. Life is always good after you win a fight, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of accomplishments. Couldn't even say that one right there with the introduction.
Yeah. That was a great intro. I mean, you hit all the important points, so I'm
Uh,
good with
awesome, Caleb. Before we
it.
start on the show, I always let my guests take a minute so they can truly introduce themselves to the audience. Maybe there's some people that may not know who you are. If you can just take that minute right now to let them know who you are, Kayla.
Okay, well, my name is Kayla. I am a professional fighter. Before I became a professional fighter, I was an Olympic athlete. I represented the United States of America for 10 plus years all over the world at all different tournaments in the sport of judo. I won America's only Olympic gold medal. I won it twice. Um, I was also world champion, Pan Am champion, junior world champion. I won everything there was to win in judo, basically. Now I'm a fighter in the Professional Fighters League, which is on ESPN. I am their first female lightweight champion. I won that tournament in 2019, and I'm competing again in the tournament this season. Um, I guess those are my accolades in sport and in life. My biggest, I think, accomplishment is I have a foundation called the Fearless Foundation. It's about it, I created it in order for survivors of child sexual abuse to not just survive but thrive. I wrote a book called Fighting Back, which is available on Amazon, and I encourage everyone to check it out. And I recently became a mom of two, so I'm now a mama bear. I am in the process of adopting my niece and nephew, who are 2 and 8, and those are probably really the biggest accomplishments of my life. Are those two kids? I mean, if they turn out good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have a very busy life, Kayla.
I do. There's no rest for the wicked.
Definitely. Now, so let me ask you this, and let me segue to this though. So you're a very accomplished athlete. It's no secret. You were in the world of judo, and you hold some insanely top accolades. I mean, Olympic gold medal. People even just dream of not only just becoming a Olympic gold medalist, but even just being able to represent their country and compete. And you've done both of
Hmm.
those things. So those are
Hmm.
major things you've accomplished before even becoming a mixed martial artist. So
Hmm.
why did you choose MMA once when you're in the world of judo and you're accomplishing all these amazing feats?
Yeah. Well, to be quite honest, I had done it all. I
Okay.
had won everything there was to win. In Rio, by the time I got to the Olympics in Rio, I was beyond burnt out. Like, I was just so done with judo. I was very, you spend years, everything that I won in judo with, I learned in the first 6 months of judo. So I was a master of the basics. And every day, twice a day for 20 years, I did the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I knew that I just knew that it was time to walk away. I was at peace with my career. You know, I won the country's first Olympic gold medal, and then I went back and defended it. Um, and I knew that I was done, but I didn't feel like I was done athletically. I still felt like I had some fire. I still had some fuel left in the tank. And honestly, MMA was kind of like that big what if in my life. It was this like, can she do it? What's it all about? And I'm the type of person who doesn't do well with like what ifs.
Of
I
course.
didn't want to turn 50 and wonder like, what if I had tried MMA? So I started training in 2017. And I think like a month after I started training, I went to my first sparring session and I got punched in the face. And I was like, nope, this is it. I'm doing it. Sign me up. Let's go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, it's crazy, right? What ifs, right? A lot of people like to live with regrets. Not saying that they like to, but it happens, right? Life
It
happens.
happens, right? Of
And
course.
And to truly, go out there and live life, you gotta answer those what if questions. That's why I'm here on the show. I kept asking myself what if, and I said, you know what, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do it. So it's
That's
awesome
awesome.
that you had that itch and you did it. Now, what was it like training for your first professional mixed martial arts fight?
It was pretty intense. I took my time. I didn't jump right into
Okay.
competing right away. I also didn't have any amateur fights, so I went straight to pro. I signed with the World Series of Fighting and then what eventually became the Professional Fighters League right away. So I knew that when I was going to make my debut, I wanted to be prepared.
Okay.
And when I first started training, I lived in Boston where I trained for the Olympics my entire career with the Pedros. The some of the greatest judo coaches
Yes.
of all time, not just coaches, but just the greatest people of all time. Um, and it was pretty clearly became pretty quickly became clear, sorry, pretty quickly became clear to me that Boston was not gonna cut it when it came to training for MMA.
Okay.
I probably could get by and do okay, but I wasn't gonna reach my potential there. So I kind of started going to different gyms. I went to Frankie Edgar's gym in New Jersey because it was close and we have ties there through Henzo and everything, and I loved it. I went to train in Vegas out at Extreme Couture, and because my manager lives in Vegas and the UFC PI is there, and just all kinds of, it's kind of an MMA hub. And
Yes.
I really enjoyed that. But then on my last trip, I came to train at American Top Team. And pretty much from the first moment I walked through the doors, I was like, oh no, this is it. Like, this is where I'm going to move. I had my first day was Mako Monday, which is a wrestling day. And then my second day, I sparred with Amanda. And after I sparred with Amanda, I was like, all right, I'm going to move here. And a month later, I packed up all my stuff, moved down here, and started training for my debut.
The rest has been history so far.
The rest is history. Yeah. I mean, it's the best gym in the world. I'm under the tutelage of, MMA geniuses of Mike Brown and Steve Mako and Anderson Franca. And not just those are my main coaches, but, every coach there, Steve Bruno and Artem and Conan and Pahumpa and Gabriel. I mean, there's just the list goes on of amazing MMA minds. And the training partners, the gym is
Yeah.
full of killers. Like, you can walk in any day of the week and you can see like the legends of the sport like training together. It's a pretty amazing thing and a pretty cool thing to be a part of. So
Definitely. Now, why did you choose to sign with PFL? I mean, I'd like to assume that you had other options, correct?
yep, I
Okay.
did. For a couple of reasons. Number one, when I first started, they gave me I didn't know if I was going to do MMA. I was still kind of on the fence about it. So number one, the PFL gave me two contracts. They gave me a contract as a commentator and a brand ambassador, and then a separate contract if I wanted to fight. So I could just commentate. I could
Okay.
just, go down that path, become an analyst if I wanted to, or if I wanted to fight, they had a 4-fight contract set up for me. So number one was they weren't pushing me. They weren't like, you have to fight by October of this time. Like, they let me kind of make my own decisions. And number two was I just really believed before the Professional Fighters League even started, I sat down with the World Series of Fighting owners and I said, like, it should be sport based. And we had a long conversation about, what I thought was good about MMA and what I thought was bad about MMA. And then the Professional Fighters League was kind of born, and they created a league. They created something where it's based on your performance. It's not based on how much trash you talk. It's not based on if the
Politics.
promoter likes you or not. Exactly. Politics. It's not based off how pretty you are, how much skin you show. It's literally based on your performance inside the cage. Win or go home. Your destiny is in your hands. We have a regular season, we have a playoffs, and we have a championship. And every year there's a new champion. Like, maybe not a new champion, maybe you win it again, but you have to put it on the line. It's not like I go in every year and I have the number one seed automatically or anything. It's I have to go out there and prove myself all over again. And that spoke to me as an athlete, as an Olympic athlete, as someone who's, you know, sort of been in a sport format my whole life. That sounded a lot better than putting my destiny in someone else's hands. Like, I was like, what do you mean? I may not I may win 8 fights straight and never fight for a title. Like, that's
it,
ridiculous, you know?
it's been an issue now. It's an issue now. Even in the UFC, there's guys that have won 8, 9 in a row that didn't even
Yeah, I
smell
know.
a title shot. They're still getting
I
passed up
know.
for a title shot because of somebody talking smack. So definitely understand your point of view in that aspect. Now,
Yeah.
for you, is it a fair question to ask you like what has stood out to you the most? Becoming an Olympic gold medalist or becoming PFL's first women's lightweight champion? Because you won the 2019 season.
Um, I mean, I think the Olympics is just, it's a hard thing to beat. Like, it's
Yeah.
a very, very special thing. I grew up, judo was my first love. MMA may be my mature love, my final love, but judo was my first love. And I remember being 6 years old watching the Olympics on TV, dreaming of going there someday. And then, waking up when I'm 12 years old at 5 a.m. to work out before I go to middle school. Like, the amount of sacrifice and dedication it took to get there, not just from me, but from my team, from my family, from my coaches, from everyone. To go to the Olympics to represent the greatest country in the world is such an amazing feeling. But to go to the Olympics, represent the greatest country in the world, win an Olympic gold medal, and be the first to ever do it for your country, it's just kind of like, it's fairy tale, like that's something that
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely an amazing feeling.
It sounds amazing. Definitely, just being able to
Words
reach
can't do
that.
it justice. I could talk about it all day, but words will never do that feeling justice. Like that night when I went to bed, knowing that I had accomplished that, that feeling of standing on top of the podium, hearing the national anthem, feeling the gold medal go around my neck, words will never do those moments justice.
And I'm assuming obviously it's all that stuff is just rigorous training, correct?
Oh yeah. I mean, judo is a very small sport in the United States. It's not popular at all. You don't become famous becoming an Olympic champion. You don't become rich becoming an Olympic champion. You don't do it for any reason other than the fact that for love of the game, for love of the sport, or for your own personal desire to be the best in the world. And one of my favorite quotes about the Olympics is, "It's not every 4 years, it's every day." And that's something that I kind of have embodied with my life and my lifestyle. I treat the PFL and I treat fighting the same way I treated the Olympics. It's not every 4 years, it's every day. It's every time I open the fridge. It's every time I think about hitting the snooze button. It's every time, my kids are eating donuts in front of me and I don't take a bite. It's
Yeah.
every time I run that extra mile or do that extra lap or hit the bag for that extra 5 minutes. And that's really what the Olympics lifestyle is all about. And that's one of my favorite things also about the Olympics is the motto is Citius Audius Fortius, which means faster, higher, stronger. It doesn't mean fastest, it doesn't mean highest, it doesn't mean strongest. It's all about putting forth your very best effort, and knowing that that's kind of that is enough. That in and of itself is, if when you put your best effort forward, when you wake up and you try to be the best possible version of yourself, to me that is success. And I learned that all on my Olympic journey.
Definitely. Now you've been doing this. You had been doing that since when you were 6 years old, and you've been training, and
Mhm.
you're a 6 degree black belt. What
Mhm.
It's fair to say you were in your comfort zone, obviously. Now going into
Mhm.
MMA, what was the hardest thing to adjust to? What was your biggest challenge?
Um, I mean, there's a couple things. I would say number one, just um, kind of being a beginner all over again, like being the new kid on the block, not having that confidence that I had in judo, but also trusting my instincts, trusting my martial arts background, trusting my grappling background, and letting that expert live alongside the beginner. Was a big challenge. I think also too in MMA, like I moved to Boston with the Pedros when I was 16 years old, and like it or not, they treated me like I was 16 years old until I was 26 years old and I won my second gold medal. It was very much like they said jump, I'd say how high. And it was I had a very trusting, very great relationship with them. Um, but I really trusted them with my career and with my life. I mean, I still to this day do. And in MMA, um, you know, the coaches, I also trust them with my life and with my career, but they're not like, you're kind of your own boss in MMA, you know, like at this point, I'm an adult. Like, if I don't show up to practice, they're not going to be like, hey, why weren't you at practice? You know, it's not their job to make sure I go to practice, and they don't have to. I mean, I show up even when I probably shouldn't show up, but
Yeah.
it's just a different mentality, you know, like you are in charge of your career. Whereas when I was in judo and a kid, like if I didn't show up to big practice, Big Jim would like come bang on my door and be like, what the hell is wrong with, you know, like
Yeah. Definitely. So it's definitely, I mean, you have to basically you're managing your own career, not saying that you weren't,
you're
but
managing,
it's
right.
yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's all on you. And the coaches have already accomplished everything they want. They've got 50 other fighters, and they've got, you know, like
Yeah,
no one
world
has time to hold
champions.
your hand. Yeah, yeah. No one has time to hold your hand. And not that they need to, like I show up regardless of what's going on, but it is like kind of a different, it's just different, you know, just a more mature maturity thing for me that I had to get used to. Like they also
Yeah.
aren't like hard asses. Like in judo, Jimmy, so Big Jim and Jimmy are father and son, and Jimmy was always kind of like the good cop. Like he was like the motivator, the inspirer. Like he would get you pumped
He
up, and
is.
Big Jim was kind of like the bad cop, where he was like, no, not like that, you banana brain, you know. And for whatever reason, that dynamic really worked very well. But there's not really a bad cop in MMA for me. Like they, you know, they're not um,
Hounding you.
negative motivators or anything like that. So it's just been, I've always have to put them in check. Like, hey, tell me if I'm doing it wrong, or like yell at me if you need to yell at me, or like make me do that extra round even if I'm crying. Like I want you to push me, you know. So it's just different.
Yeah. Now let me read this to you. I don't know if she's ready. I mean, when she feels like she's ready, I'm always looking for the best possible people to come in and fight. If you don't think that we've offered her to come over, I just don't know if her people think that she's ready yet. That is a quote from Dana White.
Mm,
Now, how does that make you feel, especially when you've been doing great? You're 10-0, you're a world champion, you have a great background there, like a Ronda
hmm
Rousey who was successful in the UFC. How does that make you feel
hmm
when you hear Dana White say something like that?
I mean, it doesn't make me feel anything, you know. I think he's a very savvy businessman. Um, you know, he knows what he's doing, he knows what he's saying, he doesn't say anything without a purpose. And um all I can say is I'm ready, and hopefully we'll see someday just how ready I am.
Definitely not. But so it doesn't. You don't feel like it adds a chip on your shoulder to go out there and prove anything.
No, I think it's funny. I mean, I think it's like silly. I don't, he knows what he's doing, you know,
Of
like he's
course.
obviously saying that to put a chip on my shoulder, but I'm zen, baby, it's not gonna work.
Now, well, let me ask you this, and I'm sure it gets annoying. So, does it get annoying when people keep asking you these questions about whether you want to fight Amanda Nunes or what's the possible future look like for you? Does it get annoying for you, or because
Yeah.
you're just focusing on Kayla?
Yeah, I mean, it just gets annoying because, yeah, like I like Amanda, we're friends. I don't want to like it continue. The media continues to try to create drama where
Drama.
there is none, and like that part gets frustrating to me. Like she has her path, I have my path. You know, if they ever cross, like I have no doubt that we'll do it with the utmost respect and in a true martial arts fashion, and we're gonna put on a hell of a show, you know. But for now, like I still have a season to get through. She's the goat. She's, you know, got her fight she's preparing for, and like there's no, I mean, it is, yeah, it's dumb, it's annoying. I'm
Um,
over it.
I'm sure every time I'll watch, I'm a huge PFL fan, and I'll watch people ask questions, and just in general, and from other MMA outlets, will ask about a potential match. I'm like, man, I'm sure that gets annoying at some point, because you're not even signed in the same promotion, so it's going to be a while
Yeah,
before we
it's
get to
like
see that.
it's always this like what if, or like these dream matchups. And I get it. Like for me, it's good that people are excited and that people are putting me in that conversation. You know, that means I'm doing my job right. If people are talking about you fighting the greatest of all time, then that means you're doing your job right.
Of
But
course.
it's a weird thing. Like, we're teammates, we're training partners, we're friends. It's we're not even in the same league. Like, there's no need for that yet. There's no need to there's no need to try and create drama where there is no drama. So
Definitely. Now, I'm not saying any names or anything like that, but then I'm assuming there would be other fights that would interest you besides just an Amanda fight, way down the road.
mhm.
Correct?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that it's pretty clear that I really want to step up my level of competition. Um, I don't have specific names in mind either, but I'm definitely ready to step it up. I know that Larissa Pacheco is no joke. I've gone 8 rounds with her, so I know that I have Jenna again. I have a fight with Jenna coming up in August.
Yeah.
We were scheduled to fight in the 2019 season, but we didn't get to. So this will be good to run that back and be able to finally get that fight in. She's a good striker. I'm a good grappler. We're going to see who goes out and instills her will. And then I fully expect to see Larissa in the finals again. And she's no slouch. Like, people don't give her a lot of credit because her UFC career was so short-lived. But she's lost 4 times. She's lost to me twice, and she's lost to 2 UFC champions. And she's only 26. Like, she's a baby. She was a baby when she was in the UFC. She was 19. So I fully expect, to have my hands full this year with these fights.
Definitely. Now, do you feel like though there are goals that you want to accomplish? Obviously, you're a very goal-driven person. Do
Yes.
you feel like
Yes.
PFL is the platform for you to accomplish everything that you want to accomplish?
It's tough, we'll see if they're able to bring in higher competition and they're able to put the right dollar amount next to my name. Um, I guess everyone has a price, right? I have
Definitely.
2 kids now. It's something that I have to think about. But no, I've made it very clear when Cyborg was a free agent. I pushed hard for that. I pushed hard for for them to sign her. I think they offered her a ton of money, and I think ultimately she kind of maybe used them as a bargaining
Chip.
tool to get
Yeah.
her to get her numbers up with Bellator. Which, I listen, like, promoters use us all the time, so I have no problem with her doing
Getting
what
some
she needs to
leverage.
do. Yeah, absolutely, I respect it. But I do feel like it's time for a step up in competition. So if they
Definitely.
can't bring that to me, then I got to go to that.
Definitely. Now, speaking of that, now in numbers, I mean, it is your last season with PFL contractually, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So after that, I mean, obviously, you're open to negotiation with obviously as long as something that fits you. You're a mother now.
I'm a free agent. I'll be a free agent after this season. So
Definitely. Now, what can people expect in your next bout with Jenna Fabian on August 27th?
I mean, I think that it's stick to the game plan, close the distance. Don't get hit, take down, ground and pound, submit. Um, when someone's a better striker than you, or maybe she's not a better striker than me at this point. Maybe I've gotten really good at striking, but when you know that your grappling is, 100% finish rate, like, why would I take any damage or do anything dangerous and keep the fight where she may stand a chance? So I expect to go in there, take her down, beat her up.
No, of course, now obviously different outlets and stuff. People like to jump the gun, and I know you don't as a competitor. But looking forward to maybe a possible rematch again with Larissa in the finals. I mean, do you find
Hmm.
it to be a disadvantage that you've already won 2 matchups with her?
Um, I mean, it's just tough because I feel like I don't have anything to gain. Like,
Yeah,
I only have something to lose. But I'm motivated for it. I'm hungry for it. I know that she's kind of come out gunslinging. I know that she's training hard. I know that she's hungry and wants to beat me. I've got a target on my back. And it's my job to go out there and instill my will. And I want to make her quit this time. I want to. The problem is, and it's it's hard to finish someone who's just trying to survive. Like, that's her greatest accomplishment, is that she went the distance. She didn't ever at any point try to win.
of course.
So that's frustrating and hard for me because I want to go out there and make something happen. But I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to get the third victory over Larissa.
Definitely. Now, not like a media outlet here or anything like that, and not trying to play this out. So if people listening to this, please don't mix these words. How did you feel about Clarissa Shields' debut though?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that none of us were. I wasn't surprised. We all knew she was going to have holes in her game. We
Right.
all were. It was part of the intrigue, right? Is to see how she would do. Um, she's very young in the sport. She doesn't have a lot of experience. She hasn't been training for very long. I think that grappling is historically much more difficult for people to pick up, than
Right.
striking. I think that it's just a tougher. For whatever reason, grappling and the balance and the jujitsu, all it's harder for people to pick up. It takes a little bit longer. So, but I was also impressed. Winners find a way to win, and that's what she did. So she's obviously she doesn't need me to tell her that she's a winner in life. She's already accomplished so much and literally willed her life into existence to what it is now. She came from very humble beginnings. I
Yeah.
respect that. I applaud that. I'm a Clarissa fan, and I just hope that, I know she wants to do both at the same time. She wants to do boxing and MMA at the same time. I hope that she's able to put in the necessary time to continue to develop as an MMA fighter. It's going to be tough to do both. So I hope she's
Sounds
able to
treacherous.
make a commitment.
Sounds treacherous. Like
Yeah.
to do one's hard enough as it is, and to do both. Wow, that's
No,
just
I mean, I listen. I love people with big goals. I
yeah.
say shoot for the moon. I'm all about that. But like, we're also human, and there's only so much time in a day.
No, definitely. I mean, now, Kayla, you're a human being now, but did it make you feel a certain type of way seeing her get all this attention and, a lot of promotion going into her when you've done so much?
I mean, no, probably a little bit. Like, I am a human being, but I quickly realized like this has nothing to do with Clarissa. If I have any problems, the problems are with the PFL, not with Clarissa.
Okay,
Um,
fair.
I think strong women should support strong women, and I absolutely applaud her. And she's making the most of an amazing opportunity. Like she should. She should get paid. She should be hyped. She should get, all of this attention. Um, if I'm not getting the same attention, it has nothing to do with her. This is about the PFL, and this is about me. Maybe I don't sell fights as well. Maybe I whatever. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. But it has nothing to do with Clarissa. I have nothing but respect for her. I wish her nothing but the best. Um, my job is to go out and win fights. I don't really care if people like me or don't like me or watch me. I mean, my job is to go out there and win fights. And my goal is to be so good that you can't ignore me. Maybe I don't get all this attention. Maybe I'm not a superstar. Maybe I'm not this. Maybe I'm not that. But I'm gonna be so good that you're gonna remember my name.
Now, as we shift to the end of the interview, what is the end game for you, Kayla? What's gonna you're not gonna stop MMA until you accomplish a certain goal. What is that for you?
I mean, I think that I want to be, um, I want to go down as one of the greatest of all time. Um, I have a specific thing in mind, I think, that will accomplish that. I have certain ideas that I think will accomplish that, but I'm not there yet. I'm not even close. That's why I get so annoyed when people
Yeah.
like Twitter warriors and all this are like, "You're not the goat." Like, shut up. I'm like, I know I'm not. Shut up.
Yeah, people get brave behind a keyboard.
But like, I'm not afraid to say that that's my goal. I do want to be one of the greatest of all time. I'm not ashamed to say that or afraid to say that, and I'm going to work really hard and bust my ass every day so that I accomplish it. And then I can walk away from this sport happy and at peace with my career. So yeah, the goal is to be the greatest, quite frankly.
Definitely. And it takes a very special person and athlete to be able to step away from their comfort zone where, they're dominant in a certain sport to go out there in unfamiliar waters and to truly do great, which is what you're doing. Perfect record, 10-0, only two decisions. You finished most of those fights on there. You've accomplished so much. Obviously, like this is the portion
Thank
where
you.
I'll ask my guest what their goal is for the end of the year. But for you, I'm assuming it's obviously become PFL World Champion
Yeah.
again, repeat champ,
Yep.
$1 million.
Yep. PFL champ. And do it emphatically. Put an exclamation mark on my name. Put a stamp on this division as I'm the queen.
Definitely. Now, one last question: what can fans expect from you, Kayla, in the future?
I mean, I hope they just expect, more pure dominance. And, I think I also want to leave my mark on the world, not just inside the cage, but outside the cage. So I'm going to continue to work on my foundation. I'm going to continue to try and be a good role model, a good mom, a good person. I'm going to continue to try and wake up and be the best possible version of myself every day. Um, and, the thing about MMA is like, it'll chew you up and spit you out, right? Like I can think of so many champions who um, just, one day they're on top of the world, the next day the whole world forgets about them, and promoters don't care about you, and eventually fans forget about you, and money doesn't last forever, but what does last forever is legacy. So I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to do it my way, and hopefully I'm going to make a difference in this world.
Definitely. Do you have any advice for anyone that's scared to try something new or step out of their comfort zone from a world champion?
Live fearless. We only get one life, and you need to live fearless. It's not. It's Give it a shot, man. You got nothing to lose. All of those fears. This is my advice. Oftentimes, our greatest fears are our greatest waste of time.
Okay. I like that one. I haven't heard that one. That's a good one. Now, where can people donate to your charity?
So I'm in the process of putting it up on my link tree on my Instagram.
Okay.
The website is in the process of being built as we speak, so they can check back there regularly. My website, KaylaHarrison.com, has a link about the foundation, and then I'll most likely put the link to the foundation's website on there. So KaylaHarrison.com or my Instagram, Judo Kayla.
Okay. Is there anything you want to let the audience know before we sign off?
I think we're good.
Awesome. We'll have your website linked in the description below. Kayla Harrison, it's an honor to speak to a world champion. Thank you for your time. I
It's
truly
my
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All
And to the
right.
audio audience, thank you so much for sticking around, listening. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.